Hello guys, so in this video we are going to cover a play written by Kalidas by the name of Abhijnanasakuntalam, where we are going to read this play in 5 parts. This is the very first part. Kindly like, share and subscribe for the upcoming parts and to get notification related to the new videos that are coming on my channel. The act opens up in the summer season when we see King Dushyant is busy hunting a deer. He meets an ascetic who asks him not to kill the deer. Now, the king Dushyant, standing over there, he asks him, "Why am I not supposed to kill the deer?" And he, in response, tells him that the deer belongs to the hermitage and that hermitage belongs to a sage Kanva, and he will not be very happy after knowing that you have killed their deer. King Dushyant very humbly accepts what he says and very calmly says that he will not be killing the deer. And now that King Dushyant has denied to kill the deer and he has withdrawn the idea of killing the deer, Ascetic gets very happy. He is very pleased after knowing that King will not be killing the deer. And he ends up saying to King Dushyant that may you be blessed with a son who will turn the wheel of empire. Now, simply saying that, yes, this book was written a long time back when definitely the patriarchy was at its peak, when we could have seen multiple examples of having males as their leader, right? But here, the question is we are still reading such texts in our universities, and that is what concerns me the most. Ascetic could have also mentioned something about may you be blessed with a child who will turn the wheel of empire, instead of just talking about the importance of having a son as a leader. And now King Dushyant will be approaching towards the hermitage. And as he reaches to the door of hermitage, he'll be removing all of his jewelry and giving it to the Suta. Now, this might seem to some of you a forced up criticism, but King Dushyant ends up in the hermitage in order to find purification. Whereas he comments in a very abrupt manner after seeing these girls who are carrying the jars of water in order to water the plants. He says that, wow, what a charming sight it is. I find it very weird that instead of working on his own thing, working for whatever he's there for, he is seeing these girls and he's getting happy about their own company that they're enjoying over watering the plants. This is what concerns me, that such text always shows these men to be very masculine and they end up commenting on the individual women that are present in the story as the side characters. And as a matter of fact, such comments have always been normalizing in our society, and they are still being normalized to a certain extent. Such comments we can see in our public places, such comments we can see in our schools, in our colleges, in our universities, and many other places in our own country, which is rather shown as an element of glorification, as if it's glorifying the masculinity of that man. But from my perspective, I find it very wrong, and this should not be encouraged. And now enters Shakuntala with two of her friends named Anasuya and Priyambada. All three girls are busy in watering the plants and enjoying their own company and talking about something, while King stands behind a tree and gets mesmerized by the beauty of Shakuntala. So while they're busy watering the trees, Shakuntala gets very objectified in the act. By the dialogue, she says that Anasuya has tied her bark garment very tight and she feels quite uncomfortable. While they are talking about such things with each other, King Dushyant stands behind the tree and is deliberately eavesdropping the entire conversation. And here, on this comment, Priyamvada responds by saying, "Blame your own budding youth. That's making your bosom well." Now, bosom here is a word that is used for breast. And these words that are being used for objectifying the women, that a woman will look beautiful if she has rounded breast, as King Dushyant mentions it in her next dialogue, that he says, "With rounded breast concealed by cloth of bark, fastened at the shoulder in a fine knot, her youthful form enfolded like a flower, in its pale, leafy sheath unfolds not its glory. So, this objectification, how Shakuntala is being objectified over being an idolized woman, this sets a kind of expectation of what is a beautiful woman supposed to look like, how a beautiful woman supposed to be look like. And this is quite mm, disturbing for the readers to read, because that is how these texts are idolizing the looks of a woman. And here goes a very short analysis of how stalking, which we can see in the activity of King Dushyant, how he stands behind a tree and listens to the conversation of all the three girls. This is a very uh, criminal activity that King Dushyant has shown here. The inhuman fact of eavesdropping in the conversation being upheld is in itself very immoral. And such behavior is shown as a site of glorifying the beauty of love at first sight. Whereas, if something like this will be done in the real world, in the present time, this will not be accepted by any girl, I believe. And this will definitely make any girl uncomfortable. Further, as Shakuntala is busy watering the jasmine plant, there's this bee that comes hovering all around her face, and she gets very scared. So, in fear, she is asking the girls to protect her, while King Dushyant, standing behind the tree, he believes that this will be the best time to show himself in front of Shakuntala, as he will be showing himself as a plain visitor and not as a King Dushyant. Right. So that's when he shows himself in front of Shakuntala in order to show the masculine energy of the drama, to always be the protector of the female. And this also encourages the same ideology that has been evolving in our society, that is, the males are the protectors and the females are shown in these texts as a very fragile individual. Now, as King Dushyant presents himself in front of the girls are taken aback. They get stuck looking at King Dushyant, and they are mesmerized again by the charming sight of King Dushyant, as the text goes, which brings me on another analysis, that is the concept of cultured women. That literally in these texts, Priyamvada, Anasuya, and Shakuntala, through such female characters, the attributes and the characteristics of a female is supposed to be very humble, very calm, and very sweet. And most oftenly, such female characters are shown while performing the acts of services in order to provide comfort to the male or the male protagonist of the story. That we can also see in this drama, that is by Kalidas, how he has shown that Priyamvada and Anasuya, in order to welcome their guests, they are washing the feet of King Dushyant. And this shows how the females are always in the acts of services, whereas King Dushyant is shown to be very kind, that he denies to get welcomed in such a manner, and he is shown in a very humble way for denying such act of services, that is getting his feet washed by Priyamvada and Anasuya, when both of these girls ask Shakuntala to get fruits in order to welcome their guest. The superiority of having a male figure in the text as the central figure is also very evident by a couple of dialogues that are spoken by Anasuya, that she says, which land mourns your absence? When they are interacting with King Dushyant, Anasuya ends up asking King Dushyant which land is missing you or missing your presence. Both friends of Shakuntala teases her by saying that if Father Kanva was here, he would have definitely asked this person to marry Shakuntala, since he has already been searching a guy for Shakuntala to get married with. On which Anasuya begins to explain to King Dushyant that in reality Shakuntala is just a foster daughter of Sage Kanva. That Sage Kanva found her abandoned in the forest and decided to give her a shed. and take the responsibility of her upbringing. Shakuntala in reality is a daughter of a royal sage and an Apsara Menaka who was sent by God to the royal sage in order to disturb the sage's single minded concentration. Since he was so much busy with the atrocities, she ended up being abandoned by her parents. And so, his foster father, that is, Sage Kanva, is not the biological father of Shakuntala. After spending a good time in the conversation, Priyamvada ended up saying that however it is her father's resolve, that is, it is the responsibility of the sage Kanva or the foster father of Shakuntala to give her in marriage to one who is worthy of her. And that she says to the king. Listening to this, King Dushyant gets very impressed, on which he replies that that's why he believes that how could a form of such matchless beauty come from the womb of a mortal mother? Now, while returning, King Dushyant, at the time when he was preparing to leave, he hands over a signet ring and gives it Shakuntala's friend, and on which it was written the King Dushyant's name. After reading that name on that signet ring, both of the friends are very surprised to know that the ring belongs to the king Dushyant. But on which King Dushyant replies that this was just a gift or a souvenir from King Dushyant, and I am not King Dushyant, is what he meant to say in front of the girls. And that is where the scene ends. The Act 1 ends over here. Although King Dushyant, after leaving the hermitage, is still having his mind and soul left in that hermitage while his body leaves the place. But he still has the thoughts of Shakuntala, whereas Shakuntala is also equally engaged in the thoughts of King Dushyant